my name is Abbie Neale, and today I'm going to be reading from my poetry pamphlet Threadbare, which is due to be released with the Poetry Business in June. I'm going to start with some poems from part 1. The Feeding. Our mother never eats. Perhaps she is fed in secret. She says that a goldfinch keeps her alive, but B thinks it's the men. I like the one who comes downstairs. He gives me high fives and high tens. They always forget to wake her up, and they blacken her cotton wool. She must eat what the men give her. Her throat is bruised from all the eating, and her feet drag when she's full. B doesn't like the new one. He hums like he has pipes in him, and it makes her fingertips tingle. We sit some evenings in the same room, and he asks us if we mind. We don't reply, in case it's a trigger, for him to get hateful or rude. But I'm scared if we leave it, he might get bigger, like mould on an old bit of food. Can you draw him for us? B rolls the nose of a ballpoint across paper, mapping her walk home from school to the police. She details the ducks, daisies, and buttercups. When she draws the traffic lights, she pauses. Talks about ducks again because ducks aren't the scary part. There's no green for the wings, so she outlines the lamppost instead, where she saw the man waiting. It cranes over him like a surrealist showerhead. She pretends to probe the beige plush carpet to show how she picked the flowers, like a sandpiper pecking for prey. The man didn't go. B says she walked towards him because that was the way home. She didn't want his smile or his sweets, so he tripped her, and that's when she ran. Our mother's mouth falls open. The feeble noise that escapes makes B give the pen back, and a quiet panic settle in her throat, like feathers. What the women wore. On a coat hanger, a bathrobe rests against his bedroom door. He enjoys them nylon or silk, shawl or kimono, open-fronted and opposite his bed, so he can imagine the women inside them. This one is blue, tight-fitting and lighter than the others. When our mother first stayed with him, it was a pink dressing gown, long and loose, lined with fleece for the winter nights, that she donned like it was hers. For their bitter cold breakfasts, the robe was always there, until she learnt the name of the wearer, the woman who came before, and it didn't feel right anymore. So she bought the pastel blue. No cotton velour, no cashmere wrap, but a housecoat worn in the day too, quilted and cool, for any occasion, like the morning he woke and told her it was over. It's blue, said Mum, rifling through the box that he left outside. We found no clothes. Her brow furrowed, then a hollow laugh rose from deep within. It's with him. What lady paraded our mother around, sipping from the same mug, slipping on the same knitted socks he offered her? Mum recalled how she'd put on the pink, a little bit smug, secretly pleased that she was the one with her hands inside of its pockets. Red. Sheltering from the rain outside, where the thunder moves fast but the sun falls in slow motion. From our tower, we see a man under a storefront, waiting, pacing, and smoking as if he's embarrassed to be smoking. There's a lake in the distance, like tin foil hiding an entire existence and carrying tiny boats. Close is a boy on a bike, riding to a girl in a shiny red coat. It's an oil painting on a canvas, thinned by rainwater, and his wheels spin colours and the picture changes. Next, the girl is given something, maybe a bracelet, So she embraces the boy, kisses him between the ears, and it appears to be forgiveness, and the image is comforting. Inside, in the rosy light of a child's curiosity, on her tiptoes, a mild cough and runny nose, my sister finds a book of bedtime stories. She asks if it'll stop raining, and then if little Red should give the wolf a second chance, because he looks so daft in Grandma's clothes, and the poor thing must have been starving. Buttermilk. Pinned to the wall is a person, drawn by a child. She has a woman's body with soft crayon edges. In the picture, the sun is an oval, as if someone has thrown a Mirabelle plum into the air, and it is about to hit her. Whoever's room this is must be out of the house, and does not know I am here. He told me we'd be making pancakes, and I believed him. He talked of his parents. I thought I would meet them. But the bedrooms are empty, and he shows me them one by one. There isn't time to take off my glasses. I can see the textured ceiling, like painted popcorn kernels, and the particles of dust. Our hair and skin floating like petals and burnt meteorites, and I can see the end of my nose. I wonder what would happen if I breathed in all of it. Soil and plant pollen, lead, arsenic. I imagine it churning in my brain and stomach. It's on the train home that I see the blood. I smile because that means it worked. Like packaged eggs, cream-coloured, deep brown, pink and speckled, we've learnt that we are better broken. It will hurt for a few days, he said, and in the toilet I clean beneath my legs, delighted to have been chosen. When I walked out, I didn't make it very far. On the driveway, there was space to come apart, because no one was home when it happened. The only cars were the ones that passed. The drive was as bare as the cast iron sky, and both were beginning to blacken. Collapsing means falling, down, over, inwards. It also means an abrupt loss of perceived value. I thought of all the sprawled people who were made to feel small, like my mother when he left. How it could take months to fold, but seconds to fall. I found her in the shower, unconscious. She had left her body in her attempts to find him. That's where I was going, I knew it. When I fell, the trees and houses were geometric shapes, and I didn't hit the ground, I tore through it. Now I will read some poems from part 2. Between Two Clouds. We talked in our big voices about the black sky between interstellar clouds, about the shadow space between the stars, and yet B stayed in the car while I watched the moon, full and orange and rising, over the dunes, the surface of a split-open runway, the salt lake, the tent poles, over cities, mountains, the backs of trees, overpowering waterfalls. All she said was, I wish it never happened. We never talked about how the cracks in our teacups and coffee dregs are now simply leftovers. Never talked about her ex, or sex without pain, or how the rain is warmer when she's with me, or how one might split the custody of a vegetable garden, spinach, sunflower, bucket bean, about how we wept in separate rooms, hoping to be heard by the other. In this new place, the windows are bigger, the curtains are open. In my thinking of you, you leap in a meadow or some sprung boggy marsh, glowing like buttered honey toast, sliced lemon, spicy tea in the sun. You shield your eyes with fingers and thumb, a hoverfly landing, as I wish to land, on your physical outstretched hand. I tell my sister about the heron, the memory swelling, how it was gone by the time we reached the river. She jokes about us and our canvas shoes, filling with pond puddles and mudhole soup, and the thought of the frogs makes her shiver. I burrow into bed, her kneeling beside it, reeling from this, my happy day. That's what she calls it, as she strokes the blush from my cheeks, wondering, out loud, when she'll get to meet you. But it's hard to hear her. I'm back in the grass, the sun has set. We laugh as we tread, trying to dodge the snails in the dark, wading the barracks of their tiny army, alarmed, squirming at each murderous crack of a shell. And I think I'll finish with the last poem in the pamphlet, which is called Painting My Mother. It is saddest when it stops me painting. I'm well acquainted with a square paintbrush head and the faint murmur of pigeons in the morning. But this week the wind, like a warning, blew down my chimney, and it came with the cold, and my fingers didn't know how to hold it anymore. Until I spoke to her. I confessed it in the car of all places, because that way she couldn't look at me. She knew this type of pain. She had felt it too. And when she parked in the driveway, we stayed there for hours, talking it through. That night I thought how lucky I was to be loved by her, and slept like a baby curled in the womb. I woke, and there were plant leaves on the table, poppies and sayflowers, and a circle of linseed and walnuts in the living room. The oil was boiled with pine resin in unlined steel cans. The canvas was ready, and for the first time in a while my hands were steady. I worked without a chair, and the wind was still there, but now I liked how it made the paint bend in the air. Her cheeks and her chin I made red, and the dripping blue that came from her head moved to her shoulders and undulating chest, creating the shape of an S, and dipped into the planes of her belly. Then into the sweeping brush strokes of her face I added 2 eyes, parchment white, like the blossoms that floated in through the fireplace, and 3 coats of varnish to let the artwork harden. I was her daughter. I was a woman in a waterhouse garden. Thank you for listening.